Alright, welcome to Buku Auto's how-to manual / 5-speed swap your Cressida. Hey, just wanted to pause for a second. Yes, the video is an hour long. Sorry about that. It has a lot of information, a lot of technical specs, and we wanted to make sure to show everything that there is in this swap to make sure you're not like, oh, how they do that? Oh, everyone always skips this part. But if you're looking for a certain section, like how to do the pedals or how to do the drive shaft or whatever, check the description below and the sticky comment for timestamps on all the individual parts, so you can just skip to that part of the video and watch just that part. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video and that there's information that's relevant. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. I'll try to answer as best as possible. Anyway, a lot of this information applies to pretty much all Toyotas that had a 5-speed option. You know, your IS300s, your SC300s, your Mark IV, your Mark III Supras, other Cressidas, 8086s, so on and so forth. One of the things you need your transmission. This is a W58. You need one with the bell housing that fits your engine, because unlike Nissan, where this is the bell housing, it's all in one. Toyota, it's modular, you can just take the bell housing off. Same, you'll need your shifter for your car. This shifter is MX73 one, MX73, MX83, Mark III Super, all use the same shifter location for the W58. Applies to also for the R154. The shifter that goes on that one that fits the Mark III will fit MX83. Make sure you have the one appropriate. Drift motion and excessive cell other ones, because if you have like an X90 or an X100, you have to have the one that went on an SC300, which uses like this little tripod system and it puts it a little farther back. So if you go to like drift motion, they make these housings themselves, like billet ones that extend out at different depths. They're like, I think $300, $400. But you just got to take this out, and there's the thing that holds the shifter itself in there. This is called a shifter retainer plate, I think. Other than that, you need to make sure you have a drive shaft that's appropriate for your transmission. This one's for W58. You also need to make sure you have your carrier bearing from your car. So what you'll do is, like, this one's a Supra one. So let's hypothetically pretend this is a Supra drive shaft. You'll have to take the carrier bearing off the Mark III by impacting off the nut here. Take this plate off. Take the center support bearing off. Get the one from your car, from the auto. Put it on, and put the plate that went to your auto, to your rear half shaft. Because on Toyotas, the front half is transmission specific, goes with the transmission. The rear half is chassis specific. A lot of people don't seem to know this, and to me, it was common knowledge in the forum days. So if you want to put a W58 and SC300, you just need the W58 and the W58 front half and your SC300 rear half. Same goes for IS300. You use your rear half of your IS300, front half drive shaft from the transmission. You want to put it in JZX100, JZX90, GX90, GX100, MX73, anything. You just need the rear half for your chassis, front half transmission. They all meet together. Toyota made it very modular, very easy to do transmissions, because this particular transmission, different gearing, but the W series was in MX73, MX80, well, not the MX83, the GX80 one in Japan, but that chassis, the Mark III NA, the Mark IV NA, the SC300 NAs, or the SOAR NAs, the NA JZX90s, JZX100s. It was in the 4-cylinder pickup trucks, all till about 2004. This thing was in a ton of vehicles. The IS300, I think the IS300 technically had W55, but all W series transmissions were in those vehicles. So Toyota had to make this very modular with Aisin, who makes the transmission. So they made a bell housing, that's engine, and a shifter for the chassis. Some engines, the input shaft changes lengths, and it's usually on the trucks. So the JZ, like this, I could put in a JZ if I just changed the bell housing. Like if I had a JZ in that car, change the bell housing, change the flywheel, and clutch system. Boom. But speaking of that, that's the other thing you'll need. You'll need a clutch, disc, pressure plate, throwout bearing. Make sure the throwout bearing fits your fork. Some of the forks are slightly different, starting in the 90s. So the throwout bearing, it's just mostly the clip that changes. Make sure you have the flywheel for your specific engine and transmission, because there's a different flywheel for R154s. It's bigger, much bigger. Make sure you have a clutch pedal. Make sure you have your, where's my pilot bearing? Oh, make sure you have your pilot bearing, a brand new one, plus your engine won't have one anyway, because it's automatic. Clutch save cylinder, clutch master. I would suggest replacing the rear main seal, a clutch hose, your fluid, and your brake fluid. The clutch hose this is from Drift Motion. They make a stainless steel braid line that goes from your master to your slave, so you don't need like the hard lines. So if you're like, oh, I got a transmission and a drive shaft, I now need like the hard lines. No. Some cars like this one don't even have a spot to mount up the hard line retainer, so it doesn't seem the point to even do that. They make ones specifically like the length for whatever vehicle you're doing. Excessive also makes them, but what's great about them is they make ones for right-hand drive. So if you got an X90 or X100 and you're going like, oh, I'm putting a W58 in the X90, they have the clutch line for you. That's the appropriate length. And if you need one for R154 that's going in X90, they have that one too, because they will run the length. You'll need, speaking of master cylinder, this master cylinder is not from a X8. The one from the X8 is only available in Japan. You can get it, just takes a while to get from Japan. But it doesn't come with studs, it comes with holes because the studs are on the pedal assembly. This pedal assembly is from a Mark III Supra. This clutch master is from a 1991 Celica. That generation Celica, and I believe that generation MR2 is the one you can use. This is all the same. It's what's different is, like I said, the studs and the reservoir is different from the X8 in Japan. But this will work because I had the same exact setup on my Cressida that's in storage right now from 2012. And some of the pictures from when I did that, and because I documented everything, I had on the forum jzxproject.com. I've seen those pictures. Some people have been putting them on the Facebook groups, and in other forums and for other countries like Toyota Nation, which is mostly Australian guys. I've seen my pictures pop up in there, how to do a 5-speed swap in a Cressida, which is kind of like strokes the ego, like I'm so great. My pictures are now transgressing, going to other countries.
Well, can we get back to work, please?
So the problem is though that with this is the Mark III doesn't fit exactly. Not sure if you can tell. It's just off by like a half an inch. What I did back then was I modified the pedal assembly to fit this from the Mark III Supra. It's not difficult. It just takes a little bit of time and some cutting tools. We're gonna talk about why this is so great later for the Toyotas, because the holes are already drilled. They just have rubber plugs in them, unlike Nissan where you have to drill them out. And we're going to explain how to cut this and modify this. We'll go over the carrier bearing part and the electrical. All Toyotas, even the Scion FRS, all you have to do is jump the neutral safety switch wires and the car will start. You don't need an ECU. People say, I think the only ECU you might need is when you do a Tour V and a Chaser, because those ECUs are a little different for the autos, for the manuals. But when we're talking any other car, it does not matter. Because all you need to do is start it. And to start it, you just jump to neutral safety switches, then the car thinks, oh, we're always in neutral. But the engine runs fine, even though it thinks it's always in neutral. So MX83, MX Mark III, Mark IV, IS300, you don't need another ECU. It's not like other companies like Nissan where you have to get a 5-speed ECU. You just need the transmission parts. Just real quick, some of the stuff we've been developing here. This is a W58 plug that goes in, so in case you want to like store your car for a while or you don't want any fluid to drip out. We also have this shifter plate, so in case, again, so these transmissions can be stored vertically, and you don't want this huge shifter poking out. Or if you need to wash your transmission, this will keep water from getting in it. Same with right here. We're still working out the details on the print right here, so that's why it's kind of messed up. We're also developing one for the R154. 4 is actually the same yoke as the automatic, so the R154 one you'll be able to put in your auto as you take it out to keep it from leaking as well. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll be doing a video once these are available, and we'll put a link in the description below when those are available. But like I said, we'll have them for the plug and the shifter plug.
Shall we begin?
For your 5-speed swap here on a Cressida is you're going to need to jack up the car. So we have big truck jacks here in the front. They get really high and it makes it much more stable. Please don't use small jacks to their fullest extent on this very heavy part of the car. We have them in the back, but that's the back end. We're not that worried, but that's the first thing you need to do. Give yourself enough room to get in there and do the work. Let's now move on to draining the transmission. Draining the automatic transmission fluid.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I bolt the exhaust here. And you do not have to bolt it back here. You just let it kind of drape down. Hammer time.
I wish I'm doing it right.
Yeah, you're going the right way. the reason for this, guys, is because the motor mount gets in the way of unbolting the flange for the catalytic converter exhaust. Alright, sir. Yes. Time to clean up. All the way right here. Yeah, I'm about to say just sweep it. Yeah. Yeah. Good riddance.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Alright, so while Tyler's back there removing the Driveshaft stuff, which we've covered in our diff video, I'm gonna remove this ground cable, the shifter linkage thing for the automatic, and then this speedo cable, which is kind of one of those things that's only for the X8s and Mark III Super stuff. So newer car stuff. This was not be a thing that's in your wheelhouse. Don't forget to unbolt the plug wires from the engine harness to the trans harness. Next thing to do is unbolt this ground shaft as well. And then what Tyler's doing up there is looping the power steering. I was about to say power steering. The trans cooler lines that go into the radiator, just so none of that leaks out. Because you gotta remove the trans cooler lines, which is what we're doing next.
Alright, y'all, so I just got finished taking the transmission cooler lines off. As you can see here, I just took the short hose. It was running from this point over to this inlet fitting, whatever you want to call it, on the transmission. And then just looped it because that was the shorter one. And the plan was originally to take the longer one that ran from here to this hose and kind of loop, or create a loop from this pipe to this one, but it's not quite long enough. I know I don't have them pointing in the right orientation anymore. It's kind of hard to visualize it, but trust me, like it was probably a good half an inch too short. So that's why we came up with Carl came up with the idea of putting these up so that way they can at least drop out from gravity. That makes sense. Anyway, that's the solution for now. It sounded like what we're probably going to end up doing is putting a cap on these just to permanently seal them off. But other than that, this is now complete.
Alright, so we just got finished taking the exhaust off. This actually went a lot better than my other car. The exhaust bolts surprisingly are not, most of them are not breaking. We took the heat shield off because I thought maybe just to get the heat shield off would help. But you do need to pull the 3 bolts here for the exhaust. You can get to all of them without removing anything else. They're all 14. After we've unbolted the hardline mounts, we're trying to get this fitting off, but instead it's just twisting the line more and more. And I have a feeling the damn thing gonna twist itself and just pop on us. I think what I'm supposed to be doing is holding. Yeah, I think so. Do you know if you have another 17 in here?
Yeah.
Let's see, it's 19. It's such a hard place to get this shit, you know? It's like the transmission hardlines are not something you're normally going to replace. So it's not exactly needs to be a super tough way to get to. Right here, we'll have plenty of hard lines if we ever need some hard lines in the future. Right?
That's right.
There might be fluid that comes out of here. So one of these lines, the one I'm moving is 17, and the one I'm holding with is a 19. And it's just some fitting. It's probably some type of flared fitting. I would guess. Why have they not invented a ratchet open-ended?
How would that work?
I've actually seen something, but it's very crude, the design. So, when I did my transmission in the past, I didn't do this, and when I yanked them off, the transmission kind of hung up itself, and then I had to, once I got the transmission to the ground, I had to like drag it all the way to the back to pull all the lines all the way through the front. So,
I think I'm getting the black lung, Bob.
I got it.
Pull the fucking line. Shit.
One. Wow, this one. Alright, get this one out of the way. And go. Toss it, toss it. No, I meant like toss it in the grass. Javelin throw it. Oh man, all over the bag. Oh man, oh man.
What?
All over my bag. My bag already had fluid in it. From another adventure. Alright, so Tyler was working on removing the starter, and so the starter for the 5M is very difficult to deal with because it requires a bolt and nut, and it's very hard to take off when it's a bolt and nut. But Tyler kind of may have discovered something interesting about this car. So you see right there, there is no nut. The bolt's right on the other side, as you can see, but no nut. It would seem to be that the starter bolts for this one are bolted in, which doesn't make sense because the 5M and 7M didn't come with a threaded starter. The 2Js did, and you can put 2Js on a 5M. You can put their starters, and their starters have a threaded housing. So it would seem that this car came with one. Either it came with one from the factory because maybe they ran out of the old M series ones, or someone's been in here and replaced it. Yeah, that bolt right there in the bell housing was loose. We also, there was also one of the little brackets, the stay brackets bolts, not on this side, but the one on the other side was also loose. So I don't know if that's just from us drifting and they're vibrating loose, or
If they were like that when we got it.
yeah, don't know. Then, you know, when you do a nut and bolt check, you typically check the suspension. Didn't need to check the bolts going to from the bell housing to the engine. Didn't know that was on my list. Top bolt requires a boxed wrench like this, a regular one, not a ratchet one, like that, because the ratchet one is too bulbous to fit in the little area of the bell housing. So he just puts it on, loosens it, takes it off, puts it on, loosens it, take it off, and just keeps working it. Alright, so we had a little problems with the upper bolt, so what we're going to do is lower the subframe so we can get to the top of the bolts from the bell housing, which was always the plan, but now we'll use a starter. But before we do that, you also want to loosen the bolts for the engine, so the engine and the transmission can both rock back, you know, like lean back. But before you do that, before you take all that extra like sturdiness loaded, you need to first remove the torque converter bolts. But basically, you unbolt these, rotate the engine, unbolt the next one, rotate the engine, unbolt, basically, and then you just push the torque converter off the flywheel, and it kind of like resides in the bell housing. So when you take the whole thing off, you take the whole thing off. It's very dirty down here. It's very oily and dirty. It's very disgusting. I tell you what. You know, be great right now. The insider.
You want it?
Now we're gonna put a jack underneath the subframe here to hold us weight. Loosen up the subframe bolts, one here, and then on the other side, and then lower the subframe down about a ½ inch, and then we're gonna lower the transmission down so the whole apparatus tilts back, and then we'll be able to, through the top of the transmission tunnel, access the starter bolts, and then eventually the top of the bolts for the bell housing too. I hold the block, but that's the purpose.
My bad.
No. Go ahead, Carl. Keep going.
I'm not singing the rest of those lyrics. So this is the starter bolt right here that we were trying to get. Like I said, what we've done is we've lowered the subframe a little bit and then lowered the transmission, so the transmission tilts back, and now we have access to it. Just a note that that's the top starter bolt, and then right next to it's the top bolt for the bell housing to the block. So right now I'm gonna, I don't know what the length of extensions are, but since Tyler already loosened it, I can just do this by hand. Still come out. Alright, well, we're back here day 2. Tyler's tackling the other bolts for the bell housing. And while he does that, I'm going to go inside the car and tackle getting this shifter out. Tyler just noticed something we may have forgotten to take off.
Kickdown cable.
Yeah, so go show him what that is.
You'll find the kickdown cable. It is this one that runs right over here, right next to the throttle cable that goes into the throttle body. So you gotta loosen this. I already did that. So pop that out, and then you're gonna undo the cable and pull it out. Just like that. Undo it from its housing, pull it out, and there you go. It's undone for you.
So, just a FYI, so the kickdown cable, if we wouldn't have taken it off, as we're pulling the transmission, it would have yanked on the engine and not separated. It would probably separate about this much, but then we were like, why is the transmission coming off the engine? What's holding it up? Why is the engine being pulled with the transmission? What bolt did we not undo? It wouldn't have been a bolt, it would have been a cable. So, good thing. So you gotta remove, you don't have to really remove the center console, you just gotta lift it up enough to get the shifter area off. It's so disgusting in the car that we got this from. They had dogs, people with dogs.
Sat in the clay.
Well,
Bunch of other shit. Yeah, so the inside's gross, the outside's gross.
yeah, people with dogs, man. Like if you're a dog owner, that's cool. If you're responsible and you clean up after your dog, but a lot of people do not. They have dogs, and they're just like with children. They don't tidy up after them. I'm getting very political, I think, with my statements, so I'm going to stop talking. So yeah, you got these two. And up here, there was one here and one here. This one was already missing, but you have one here that bolted into this like plastic sort of thing, I guess you could call it. Anyway, so now this will lift up, hopefully. Just enough to, there we go. Bringing a lot of plastic on this car. Trying to get this shit out. Where that goes.
In the garbage.
In the garbage. Cool. Look how disgusting all that is in there. Ugh.
Oh, it's on me.
Now jack this guy up. I roll back, pull it back. Alright.
Is that it?
Yep. Just pull it over there, bud. So let's talk about transmission mount brackets. So this is the one from the MX73, I think, or maybe my MX83. I don't really know, but this is the one that was on my W58 that was in my other Cressida, my other MX83. This is the one from the auto. As you see, they are slightly different. What I had to do was modify this one, as you can see, put a hole here, and I had to put a hole here just to kind of make it work. Some people talk about what you have to do with this one is just flip it this way, and then it works. Some people say even when you do that, you have to wobble out the holes just a little bit to make it work. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to use this one for right now. Maybe later on when I have to put my W58 back in my other Cressida, I'll worry about it then. But I just wanted to kind of show you that's the difference between these mounts. My point is, you can modify the original mount if you have to. It's just there as a clamping force to clamp up. It's not the same as a mount for other things. The bell housing bolts are holding it against the engine. This is just holding it up. So just taking like a little Dremel or a drill and just wallowing out the holes is really all you really need to do. So as you can see, flex plate has a spacer on the front and the back side. It's always very important if you're ever going to put these back, which one side goes on which. You do have to use different bolts. These are the stock ones. These are the ones you need. You have the difference in height. You cannot use the autos. I just realized I don't think I have bolts for the pressure plate. Now I gotta torque it down these. We torque down to 54 foot-pounds. And when you get the clutch and pressure plate on, you torque down these to only 14 foot-pounds. Small little like 8mm, 6mm bolts, so it doesn't need a lot. You ready, Tyler?
Yeah.
Also, it's helpful to have a second person if you can't somehow jam a breaker bar against the frame. Yeah. Got it?
Yep, I got it now. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go.
Before you put the clutch on, you make sure you wipe down the flywheel. Wipe it down with brake clean. Get all the dirt off. Since it's been sitting here, who knows what bullshit's on it. You put the right side in. This one's, sometimes they're not marked, but this one's marked as flywheel side. So flywheel side means this side. And you put your alignment tool in. I mean, if you've ever done a clutch job, this is all like, duh, Carl. Yeah, but for those who haven't, that's the next thing. And then you take your pressure plate. You gotta clean it too. Make sure you guys wipe it down as well.
I know what you're trying to say.
Centric, like
centered.
It's like, yeah, it's not like you can go. It can only go one way. All right. Now, one of the things we were holding up was for pressure plate bolts. OEM ones are not available for some reason. Just bolts. So these are from ARP. They say they're for a 22R, but the 22R is a W series. So the number is 103-2201. So that's the ones you need. It was like $15 off of Amazon. They're not expensive. Flywheel bolts are usually a little more expensive, but not that much either. They come with washers. I'm gonna put the washers on. I'm just putting these in right now to cinch it, so I don't have to keep my hand on the pressure plate. Come on, Bolt. Tyler, would you mind getting them out for me? Alright, Leave it. And up. There. I keep pushing. It's so close. Okay, push up. Bitch, get in there. Getting that pilot bearing. Hold that. We started to put the transmission in without putting the fork in. So we're gonna do that now. So first things you wanna do is make sure the joint, if you have this type of slave throw bearing situation is, make sure the, where is he? The ball right here, which is not even tight. Oh fuck. Make sure it's tight.
How's it working out for you?
I was like, well, we'll fit in like this. So I was like, go through that fucking hole. If you have a deep 19, this would be very beneficial.
You want the ratcheting 19?
You have the ratcheting 19?
Yeah.
I don't have a ratcheting 19.
Yeah, come on, just give me a second. It'll make it a lot faster and easier.
Earlier. Make sure you grease up. Not that much fucking grease. The ball part. Also throw some grease on your splines. Just make sure you don't get too much because it will transfer to your clutch. Alright. Also throw some grease inside your throw bearing. Just a little bit. And here on the fork, you want to throw, the fork sits like this. You want to throw where this contact, actually where the metal contacts itself on the fork. So, put it right there, put it right there. Go ahead and throw some on the throw bearing. There. It's basically wherever metal rides against metal, so that it won't squeak. Also make sure whatever fork you're using works for your throw-up bearing, because sometimes these little pins that hold them are different on different ones. Like this is the newer style with the wire. The other style was just like little, almost not even clamps. You're right with it. There you go. And my boot fell off. There's a steak in my boot.
Trans install, take two. Because some idiot doesn't know that he needs to install the throw bearing first.
Look, you don't know anything about transmission, so why don't you just shut your lip?
Shut my lip? What's going to you shut your lip.
Look, this is all my cars, all my stuff, so without me, none of this would be possible, okay?
And without my help, none of this would be possible.
Oh, God forbid, bolt breaker here, helps
Bolt
out.
breaker?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what I can break.
Yeah, it's over here. This other side. Camera lost footage last night, or battery life, after we struggled getting the transmission in. We have already went and torqued down all the bolts except for these bottom ones. These bolts, a lot of people over tighten these. They're only supposed to be like 36 foot-pounds. Anyway, the numbers should be flashing here. But we already did that, put that up. He's already got the transmission mounted and tightened. He's just working on the drive shaft now. He's attempting to work on it. But I want to talk about how, once you 5-speed swap, how do you get your car started? So, all you need is 2 wires to jump on any Toyota. I said this earlier. And on the MX83, those 2 wires... shit, my eye. And this plug on the engine harness, these 2 wires are the neutral safety switch. These confirm that the shifter is in neutral or park. This one here on the top goes to your shifter. That selects, it's the power cord that goes to your shifter that selects what gear you're going to be in. So this sends power to your selector, and if you put an R for reverse, it then comes out and goes into this one, and then it goes to your reverse lights. If you're in neutral, it goes to the dash saying you're in neutral, so on and so forth. So to get it started, you need to jump these 2 wires just to get it started. And for reverse, you need this wire to go to your transmission, and then back from your transmission needs to go to the 5th wire on this plug, which is the bottom middle one. I'll put all this up on the screen. But this is for MX83 Cressidas, J690, J6100s, IS runs. All that's going to be different. You just need to find an engine harness to know which wire. W58 here. This wire pigtail I made. It was originally something else, but I don't have the other side of that connector, and it's a very old style. So I got these off of Amazon. These little 2 pigtail things right here off of Amazon, and I just swapped it out. And now what I've done is I've gone to the transmission and cut these 2 wires off the transmission that go into these wires over here for the engine harness. And I have basically capped the ones for neutral, drive, park, all that stuff, because we don't need them. All we need just drop it, Carl. All we need is the ones for reverse. Like I said, is the bottom middle one. So what I have here is the reverse ones coming out and going to this wire to plug into here. So when you put the manual in reverse, it'll still put the lights on. It'll also put the R on your dash on, by the way. And for the neutral safety, right here, all I have is them together. So the car will always start. You won't need to have it in neutral. You will not need to have the clutch pedal on it. You could wire these to the clutch pedal if you wanted to have that OEM where you got to put the clutch pedal in. But it's kind of nice, you know, for a drift car or a race car to not always have to make sure the car's in neutral, or you're sitting in the car putting your foot on the clutch. You can kind of just easily reach in and start it. I mean, that's just my opinion. But
Especially if you spin out and it kills on track. It's one less thing you got to worry about.
Right, yeah, because you'd be focused just putting the car in neutral, not putting your foot on the clutch. Granted, you should have your foot on the clutch when you're spinning out anyway.
Well, right, yeah.
But it's just one of those things that you less have to worry about to start it. Anyway, so to get this thing started, all we have to do is plug all this in. So I'm just going to plug this guy in right here. Yeah, well, if I can. It's kind of hard to do it one hand.
We're not neutral, are we?
No, we are. Yeah, spin it.
It's not what spin.
Parking brakes on, I think. Are you connected to the
drive shaft? I mean, the diff? Yeah.
Yeah, it's in park. I mean, the parking brakes are on. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm always right.
Look now. You guys can hear he's just so humble.
So humble.
So humble.
I just douse myself in humble pie. That's a weird way of phrasing that, Carl.
I wasn't the one that said it.
Because I don't douse myself in humble pie, but I do douse myself in a different kind of pie.
This is a kid show, Carl.
Alright, so now for the other thing that's weird on these cars. So if you're in a J690 or 100, any of the newer cars with modern ABS stuff, usually your speedo is driven off of ABS. But in these older cars, we have a speedo gear. So this has got to be connected for the speedometer, which is over on the other side of the transmission. In the back there, that's where this connects. And I just made a boo-boo. And Todd's gonna hate me.
What?
Because this cable's supposed to go over the top of the transmission.
You
Son of a...
So what does that mean? Do we need to drop the transmission?
No, not like drop it. Just needs to be unbolted and lowered.
Which means this whole thing is what I just did. Is use it
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. You're gonna hate me. Since you're on this side, it needs to be fed over. Just like the clutch slave, all that shit's in the way, so it's kind of hard to do it when the transmission's fully up. Got it.
Yay!
Alright,
Yeah, that should fit there, huh?
Yeah.
That should be.
Yeah, they're all the same size. I'm just checking where this guy connects now. Oh, hold on. Loosen it back up. Alright, now tighten it.
Roll now.
Alright, whenever you put your sleeve cylinder in, make sure you get some grease and put it on here where the sleeve cylinder piece pokes out. If you don't, it's going to eventually squeak, like I was saying earlier. All those, that metal and metal contact. Whenever I used to be in a drive-thru, it used to make noise, and I would have to put the clutch just slightly in just to get rid of the noise, because it'd just be vibrating against it. Someone, not me, but someone sandblasted this thing, and they didn't clean out the holes in here for stuff like this. And it was a bitch to clean out. That's why I hate about sandblasting. Vapor blasting is better because it's water, and water will eventually evaporate. Where sand stays. Tyler is now going to go up top, and he's going to feed me the line for the clutch sleeve before I tighten that all the way down. Yeah, boy.
This is like overly long.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's also for the R154.
Oh, okay.
So, which goes farther back. Yeah. Like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Oh. Oh, gosh. I guess it's time for us to tackle the drive shaft. Now we're going to talk about the center support bearing drive shaft component of this. Again, this is a W58 drive shaft, and this is a center support bearing for a Supra. We need one for a Cressida. Depending on your situation, you might need one for a IS300, or you might need one for a GZX90. Whatever the deal is, you need to get your center support bearing here. So first, you got to get this flange off, which has a 24mm nut on it. Usually it's staked in. This one's not, because I recently had to replace this one, so it's not staked in. But you don't need to unstake it. You just need to get your big ass impact on here. Take it off. That's kind of anticlimactic because, like I said, I've already been in this. So, and then you pull yours off. Make sure you don't lose the washer that's inside there. And then pull your center support bearing off. Boom. Then you get your center support bearing for your car, which is now the next thing we're going to mess with. Now we have the drive shaft from the Cressida. Again, this is the automatic front half, Cressida rear half. So we need this half with the other one. So first things first, just like if you took the drive shaft off, you need to separate this. What you want to do is, if you notice on this end how the U-joints are orientated, so this one's top, then it's top, and then it's top here on the yoke. That's how you want to keep the orientation going. It's usually pretty easy because you're going to also use the same flange from your Cressida Auto to put onto the W58 one. And because of that, you're going to see the outline of the markings on said flange. And of course, when you put it back, you want to put it back in the same way on the drive shaft. You're supposed to technically mark the drive shaft onto the diff to keep that line, but I've never done that. I just always make sure it lines up with the kind of worn out cut hole thing, I guess you could say. But anyway, again, also note the orientation of the bolts. So on that end, the bolts were on the outside, the nuts were on the diff side. Here, the nuts are on the transmission side, the bolts are on the back side. So that is important to keep that orientation going. Anyway, just 14mm to undo these, which I gotta kind of, and then when it breaks loose. Put a wrench on there. Let's see, are they stuck together? Yeah. That's how I separate them.
Remember, kids, if you don't have a hammer, just use the ground.
Yeah. Also, we're going to lubricate the splines. We're going to use the one from the car. That one is from a car, so it can be used. So we're going to use this one. For the washer. Alright, 134. Now we need a breaker bar to loosen it. Okay, it's loose. Now it's a 51 foot-pounds. Okay. So now we have a drive shaft ready to go into our Cressida. Mwah! So easy.
What type of accent was that supposed to be?
It's an accent of the people.
What do you mean, the people?
What do you mean, you people? Now we got that done with the drive shaft, let's move on to the clutch master and clutch pedal. So, like I was saying in the opening, all Toyotas become stamped out and cut. Where Nissan, the stamping will be there, but you have to drill it out. Here in Toyota, all Toyotas that had a car that had its own master cylinder or clutch master cylinder has these little plugs. Even right-hand drive, you'll see these plugs. What's interesting is on some of the right-hand drive vehicles, there's a plate on the inside you have to unbolt and then take out. So as you see with the X8, there is some stuff on the inside that you have to cut out and remove of the carpet. It's not carpet, it's like the insulation on the firewall that you have to cut out to make room for all this. But these little rubber plugs also come out. They're just a little difficult with fingers. All right, but anyway, so but before we dive into the car, let's first tackle the master cylinder and getting it cut to fit in there. I have some pictures that I'm going to go off from my previous one for how to cut a Mark III, but we're going to do that now.
Tiny one
between right here to mark that. I did a small little hole based on where the master cylinder sits when vertical. Then I'm going in with the final one, 11/32. So now that I've wobbled out this hole and then re-drilled and wobbled out that hole to make this thing fit, the next thing is I have to wobble out this hole for the centerpiece to go in, so it'll fit flat. And it's like I said, it's not exactly, it's all kind of like shifted up and left. So I'm just gonna make a little pencil.
Keep moving right in the way.
Sorry, pencil mark. You can kind of see. Check and cover all that in. There you go. So I just need to hit that with the this guy. Just FYI, I did all this in the past with just a drill and a Dremel. So I got way better tools. Still not probably the appropriate tools, but way better. So when we go to put this in, this will be in the firewall. But before this goes up, this has to just sit here to act as the bushing. Now, we actually have a welder that we just got. But we haven't really had time to set it up, so I don't know if we're gonna try to tack that on real quick just to give something. But when I did it my first time, if you don't have a welder, you can just hold it up there as you put that on, and you put your nuts in behind. But right here we have a line coming up, and then you got to go around this. So I basically have to cut all of this off, all of this to fit inside the Cressida. Because over here there's the firewall or the side of the car, and there's like electronics here, so it won't fit. So this is what you got electronic. When it's done, you'll see what it looks like, so you can hopefully copy it if you need to. Alright, so now that we got the clutch pedal cut to roughly what it needs to fit, might need some finessing later. We're going to go in and get all the stuff out for make room for the clutch master and clutch pedal. When I did this originally in 2012, I left the seat in and just wiggled my way in. I was also 100 pounds lighter then, so it was a little easier. But I suggest for everybody to take out your seat. Just makes things easier. I've already unbolted it, and I'm going to have my lovely assistant take it out because these bitches are heavy. Lovely assistant Tyler. Everyone. Holy shit, you were that kid. Alright, so, oh my god, this thing is so dirty. Pressure vacuum it out first.
Look at this. Carl's in an awkward position for once. It's not me this time. Yeah, there you go.
So you're definitely going to need to remove this lower panel. But yeah, so the pedal kind of runs right through this whole area right here. So a lot of these guys have to be moved. These little modules got to be moved over. So that's kind of what we have to do before we can even put the pedal in. But as you can kind of see back there, there's the little cutout. Can you, with your flathead, just push that little centerpiece out? Yeah, push. Keep going. There we go. Yep, and there we are. There's our opening. It was already cut out. It was like cut, but not all the way cut. Yeah. When my head's in there, you can't hear me.
No.
You got the pick right there nearby. Wire that away.
All right, y'all. Clutch master in.
Where's the hole? Back here, there's a gap between the pedal and the firewall assembly. That gap, so the pedal's not mounted all the way against the firewall. That's because this bolt thing is too high. The pedal assembly is not long enough on this bracket. So what we have to do is we have to notch that hole out so this whole bracket can then go farther back. If that makes sense. That's what I had to do on my old one. Because the most important thing is that being bolted to the firewall, and this just clamps upwards to hold it in place. So that's what we're gonna do now. Climb up. There we go. All right, now bolt with washer on it. Jesus. Oh gosh. Crap. Zip ties holding a lot of stuff. Control modules in. Got the pedal thing off. Pedal rubber thing to cut the brake pedal. Because we could replace the brake pedal. I got one. It's just too much to deal with. Too much shit. It's easy just to cut it. Anyway, now I gotta get out of this bitch. Ta-da! Finally put some fuck directly into the transmission. You don't have to fill from the side plug and have a special little fill thing. Kind of cool.
Yeah, take note, Toyota of today.
Well, my manufacturer is just they've created a crumple zone here, so the shifters have to sit farther back than they used to. I still spilled some. Saw that?
It's alright.
Well, the idea is to try to catch it before it goes down. So when I'm like, "Hey, is it leaking?" Like that's not what you're seeing, you know. This is the Tyler and I went and got a new fresh shifter bushing from Toyota. They actually had one in stock. The guy actually at Toyota started to argue with, like, these not are all the same on all Toyotas. Rear-wheel drive Toyotas, these are all the same. 4Runner, Corollas, the Supras, the Cressidas, the SC300, the Mark III, the Mark IV Super, all, you know. Anyway, if you do happen to have one from a Supra and you're wanting to know the part number, it is 33548-31010. Anyway, Toyota actually had that. He's like, "Oh, I don't think we're gonna have it. It says discontinued." And the guy we talked to is like, "Yeah, I got one in my old parts bin." You can get these also on Amazon. They usually come with the bushing that's also in the shifter housing. Anyway, I've just spent some time messing with this and this. So this is your shifter plate that goes here and sandwiches the rubber on your shifter down to keep exhaust fumes and stuff like that out. There's actually another one that's supposed to be here, but it tore, so I don't have it on here. When I was getting this out of the car in the junkyard, does not fit the Cressida. It only fits manual Supras. Like even automatic Supras have a different layout for the shifter because the automatic has a different profile. I don't know why they did that. Why not just make them all the same? But so I had to widen. So it says FR for front. So I had to widen the top holes out and then drill new holes for the bottom one, which basically what we did was I put it down over the shifter, bolted these two in after I widened them, and Tyler from the bottom with a center punched them through the hole, and then I just drilled them out, and there we go. And then I placed these on the rubber and basically figured out where those goes and cut holes for the rubber. So now we're gonna install the thing. Alright, so now for our piece de resistance. This is a shifter we bought from eBay. It's a Toyota shifter. We were putting it in a Supra, but since we're not driving the Supra yet, we decided to put it in this car. Tyler, would you care to have the honors? Feels a lot better than that short throw on the Supra. Bled the clutch, nut bolt checked everything, put it ever back in. Am I forgetting anything, Tyler?
Nope.
Alright. Well, you good back there? Alright. Let's see how this clutch works. Alright, we're in the gear. Second gear. Third. Fourth.
Three days later.
So the 5-speed swap worked. We went to the track and it worked really well. As you saw, Tyler was drifting really well in it. Yeah. And so if you have any questions, like I said earlier, just ask them below. Yeah. Tyler did a great job. Alright, welcome to our tricolor W58. Light gray, medium gray, dark gray. Right, Tyler?
That's right.
It's Tyler's joke, not mine. Anyway.
Boo!